If you shed the Korban Pesach not for the eaters, nor for the subscribers, or for the purpose of Arelim, Lutzmeim, or people at Tameh, all these are puzzles. Exclusively for those purposes. If you shed for the purpose of eaters, am I in the wrong place? You skip Thursday?
I'm thinking, what was it Thursday? I was here.
Yeah. Docs tells the official page keeper. I cannot rely on your records. Only Dr. Fidel's counts. Okay.
We're having shiur Wednesday and Thursday, correct?
Yeah. You're not going to be here Thursday either. I can't give shiur to the wall. So only Wednesday. Wednesday you'll be here? You go to St. Louis? Sure you can't wait till Thursday? Now you have an incentive to wait because it's not going to be shiur on Thursday night. Alright. If the eaters, if non-eaters, no, it's part kosher, part puzzle, either because part ochlim and part non-ochlim, or part subscribers and part non-subscribers. Lemulim for people who are circumcised, arelim and uncircumcised. Litzmeim for people who are tamei, lutar people who are tar, kosher. All these things, since there's a mixture of kosher and puzzle, it's kosher. Shachto kodem chatzos, if you should have to be before midday puzzle. Shem rabo bein arbaim. It says in twilight, not twilight, afternoon. Kodem l'tamid, if you shech in the afternoon, but before the tamid, it's kosher. Wherever somebody should be mixing the blood until the blood of the tamid is thrown on the mizbeach. But the evidence the blood of the pesach is thrown on the mizbeach before the blood of the tamid, it's not supposed to kosher. It's okay. The Gemara is going to discuss all this. How do we know they have to share for the purpose of the eaters? Rabbi Yochanan B'Shem Rabbi Shmuel, Ish Lefi Ochlo Tochusu. And the chusu we learn, Rabbi Yeshua Lashon Sursi, it's the Sursi dialect, whatever that is. Gadam Shom El Chaver, like a friend, this person says to his friend, Kos li esat and Kos means shecht. So shchita has to be for ochlim. Ketch Shlol Ochlim, what's the Shlol Ochlim? Shach L'Shem Koli is a subscriber, but he's sick, so he can't eat kazayis. Hashem Zakin, or an old man, Shen Yochel Yochel L'Chol Kazayis, needs to be kazayis, they're not ochlim. Ketch Shlol Ochlim, what's the shchita for not for subscribers? Shach L'Shem B'nei Chabura Acheres, you shchita for another Chabura. That's important. Shach L'Shem Chabura Acheres, for another Chabura. Okay, it's going to be important in a few minutes. Hadamar, now this teaches us, Sha'akotan Yesh L'Minyan Livso. A cotton, if he's part of a chabura and he can't eat, you shech for his purpose, or even if he's not part of the chabura, you shech for a cotton, he can't eat, he's possible because it can't be an ochel. Hadamara, same thing, person is distant from Yerushalmi, the shachta lishmo, and you shech for his purpose, possible because he cannot eat. Even if it's the meniah, that which is keeping away from him is distance, supposed to kashrus or capacity, that in and of itself is enough to make him a person who can't be an ochel. Yeah, okay, fine, but if he's there now, you're shechting for somebody who's no way can make it, and he's one of the critical members, so that's no good. Hadar Mara, this Hadar Mara is Hadar Messiah l'droime. It's a Messiah to people from the south. The droime, I mean the people in the south said, Imurin sha'avdu mechashim lohem kavishin kayomin. People who, if you lost the imurim of a carbon, you can still make pigo by thinking to be makiv those imurim at the wrong time or wrong place, even though they're gone. But the hypothetical thought concerning them is sufficient to make it pigo. The same thing is true here, even though this guy is not here, but they're chayka. But the hypothetical thought to give him to eat and he cannot eat, passes your carbon. Okay, just like over there, shaloch love so to here vis-a-vis people. Hadamara. Now our Mishnah teaches us, getting back to our Mishnah, shachta, if you shech the Korban Pesach, shetochim el chatzi chaburaso. Now remember, we said loch love shalom luya means for another shalom luya means for another chabura, right? What if you shechted for part of the, and lumnuya v'shalom lumnuya therefore would mean what? For this chabura and for another chabura. What if you did something really stupid and you shechted for part of your chabura? You got that question?
Which means if you had a conscious thought.
Only half of the chabura, and the other chabura should be ein moichlin. Okay, that was your thought. It took me a long time to figure out this Gemara. Is it possible? It's a question actually. No. No. In other words, you want to apply for our Mishnah. The implication of our Mishnah is that shachta, if he's shecht for a chabura, your chabura and another chabura is a zak limnuyev shlom nuyev that's kosher. But if you shecht for half of your chabura, that's possible. He says that's not the implication of our Mishnah. Don't learn our Mishnah that way. The implication of our Mishnah is that if your entire chabura couldn't eat because they're all cholim, so then it passes, right? But if they're not all chol, and then if you shechted, say, for your chabura which cannot eat, and for another chabura which can eat, they're oichlim, right? Because limnuyav shlonim nuyav is not the same as ochlav and shlol ochlav. Could be you shech for your chabura which is cholim, and for another chabura which is oichlim, and that was your intent to say that that's kosher. So that the Mishnah says that that's possible, right? Excuse me. And that the Mishnah says, the Mishnah says, where everybody your chabura can eat, where people in chabura can eat, and you shechted for your chabura and the other chabura, that's kosher. And what it comes to imply is that, but as long as people in your chabura can eat, but if everybody in your chabura is sick, that's no good. But no implication should be derived for our Mishnah. This would be the case where you shechted for half of your chabura. Okay? Again, the whole question is the implication of the Mishnah. So his implication was only if you shechted for your chabura its totality, and the other chabura and another chabura, then it's kosher. You shechted for half your chabura, it's possible, right? He says, no, that's not the implication of our Mishnah. The implication of our Mishnah is if you shechted for your entire chabura, which are eaters, and another chabura, which is not menuyim, of course, then it's kosher. But if your whole chabura was choilin, even if you including another chabura, it does you no good. And therefore the carbon is possible, right? Amar lei, so he said, you know what, if that's the case, now the Shari Torah Eretz Yisrael Rabbi Rabinowitz here, he changed this l'shem b'nei chabura choilin. It's not necessary, it means the same thing. Right? If that's the case, you want to tell me a chiddush about that, why didn't you tell me explicitly? I want something like that should have been explicit. It's very, very much sledgehammer-ish to put that into the Mishnah. The Mishnah don't say nothing about fire chabura being choilin. Whatever you want that to be the inference of the Mishnah, somebody should have said something about that more explicitly. So Amar Lei, so he said a very interesting answer. He said, you're right. Now, a lot of people disagree with what I'm about to say. They don't say that this is a chazara, but the Pashtus is that it is a chazara. Rabbi Eliezer said, you know what, you're right. So I have a very interesting case. Our Mishnah, which says Limnuyev Shlo Nuyev is kosher, has another inference. What's the inference it has? Let's say the Rambam says explicitly, Rambam brings out this case and they say his Makor is Yerushalmi. It's really like the next case in the Gemara. Let me read the next case and make it easier. Amalei b'shusham ksherim, they worship ksherim, v'shach l'shem psulim, v'shech l'shem psulim. Rabbi Eliezer, and Rabbi Eliezer said, really this is an explanation, Masnisa b'shashach l'ochlav, v'niskaper bo l'ochlav, v'shlo l'ochlav. Our Mishnah is when you shechted for ochlim, and then it was consumed by niskaper here means there's no kapara by corn paste, it means consumed. Niskaper by lochlav shalo lochlav, and then it was eaten by ochlim and neinam lochim. That's okay. Im shachta mishari shaina, but you shechted for the ridge from the gitko niskaper for the intent of lochlav shalo lochlav pasul. But if you shechted for the people who also for people are pasul to begin with, it's no good. In other words, when you can partake of it, when the people who partake of it later on are partially pasul, or the people who can't eat a kazayis, whatever the case may be, that's okay. Then it's going to be ochlav v'shlo ochlav. But if originally you had in mind for those people who cannot eat, then that's very bad. It doesn't work. And the Rambam says explicitly, Rambam says, yeah.
The people have to be potentially able to eat.
Right. Right, they have to be potentially able to eat, and if not, they're puzzled. Let me find that inside. Yeah, listen, it's amazing Chiddush, but listen to the way he says it, the Rambam. I'll explain it. One second. He says here. One second. He says, "Afilu chabur shamea." It's chabur of 100 people. Ve'ein kol echad mehem yochol le'echol kazayis. If not everyone can eat a kazayis, ain't sheikhtin aleim. Now it's the sheikh for them.
That's because it's not
No, if you because of cholim, right? You have 99 healthy people, one person who's sick, can't sheikh. So it's really that we never saw such a thing in the Bavli. Bavli we didn't push it. Even if half the chabura can eat, half the chabura can't eat, it's fine. It's kosher carbon. But the Rambam learns to this Yerushalmi that's not the case. He says that with shayusham kshem, what the Mishnah is referring by lemnuyav v'l'shalo lemnuyav, meaning for my chabura and another chabura, is if in my chabura I have some people who can eat and some people who cannot eat. No good. Everybody has to be suitable to eat. L'maise b'shas achila, do they have to be able to eat? No. But b'shas shchita, I have to have in mind all the people who can potentially eat. It's a very interesting thing. L'maise, let's say 75 people can't eat and 25 cannot. I'm not allowed to have them in my time of shchita. But if later on if they were menuyim, I think, I'm not sure. Maybe if they were subscribers, they can't be back later on if they get healed. Because after all, they're subscribers. And lo'achlev shlo lo'achlev is kosher. But if I had that in mind, had them in mind at the time I shechted, that's no good. So again, the bottom line is that I think that's what the Mishnah of the Gemara is saying here. It's because it says, I wanted to say it's possible. No, that's okay. I don't have to have a mind for the chabura. The kohen, it's not like, remember we said, it's not like the chassan under the chuppah. He doesn't have to have a list of names of the guys who are being included in the chabura. He just says, no, there's Tom, Dick, and Harry. Maybe there's Bob also. But he just says no Tom, Dick, and Harry. What happens afterwards? Bob will eat his kefela. So the same thing here. So, however, if Bob is a choyleh, and he has in mind to include Bob the choyleh on it, part psulim and psar part ksherim, that's no good. What I'm adding on now is maybe the Bob is a choyleh now, and therefore you cannot have a thought on him. And by the time the achila rolls around 2 hours later, he gets healed. No, it's like an acute case of diarrhea. Can't eat, and then he can eat. So maybe then, but that's okay. Okay?
He was not Minov at the time.
Well, he was money. He was money, but the kohen didn't have it in mind because he couldn't eat. But he was still in money. He had not relinquished his subscription. Yes, that's what it boils down to. What the Mishnah was machshir, when it says Muruyav Shalom Muruyav, that said it's kosher, right? That's only if it's another chabura altogether. But in this chabura, I can only shech for the people who are suitable to eat. I can shech for half of the chabura, that's okay. But I have to be half of the pir chabura which can eat the carbon, not the half which cannot eat. Okay? Now, for some reason, someone's going to repeat the sugya in Lamed Ham and Aleph. I don't know why, but that's what the sugya means here. That's not bad. It wasn't too difficult, right? It took me an hour just looking at it this morning. It was possible to figure it out. Okay. Rabbi Simloi, very interesting one. Perhaps one of the more interesting ones we had in the Yerushalmi. Rabbi Simloi asked Rabbi Yonasan the following one. Rabbi Simloi came to Rabbi Yonasan. Now we had a similar mice in the Bavli, interestingly, which I'm sure we all forgot because when the Bavli wasn't as important. But there in the Me'ilah, actually it's not. Oh, that's how I forgot it. It's not in Pesachim, it's in Me'ilah. But in Me'ilah, the mice there says Rabbi Nosan. Rabbi Simloi asked Rabbi Yonasan. Amar Lei, so he said, Alpha Haggadah, teach me Haggadah. Amar Lei. Look at this. I have a Meseiro. I don't teach Haggadah, lo Bavli, not the Babylonians, lo Droimi, nor the people from the south. The south, by the way, is Lud. Shein Gase Ruach, because they're haughty. Umiyute Torah, and they have little Torah. Va'at, and you, Nardoi, V'dar V'daro. You're from the Idol, you were from Babylonian origin, and you live in Lud. You're expecting me to teach you Haggadah? But for a chutzpah, no shaykhs. Lieberman has a long piece in which he proves it. Because in parallel, Gemara in Me'ilah, which is far less descriptive, but it says At Miludoi At. Okay? So he has a whole long piece on it. Amar Lei, so he said, okay, fine. If you don't want to teach me Haggadah, tell me shtickle toil. Chada milsa. Ma'ave lishmo v'shlo lishmo. Why when I said the korban lishmo and shlo lishmo, the korban Pesach it's possible. Ma'ave ochlo v'shlo ochlo, which is kosher. Now I think what he's really asking him is, if you don't want to teach me Haggadah, to teach me lomdus. Okay, I want to hear I want a derech halimud from you. Not Haggadah, to teach me derech halimud in lomdus. Because look at Rabbi Yonasan answer, they're very lomdish. Amar Leisa, he says, Lishmo v'shlo lishmo, psula migufo. Right, did I skip? Shlo, psula migufo. Tzarich psula in the Chavtza. Lochlev shlo lochlev psula me'acherim, from others. It's a psula in the Gavra. See, he was teaching him a brisker derech halimud. He goes further. Shlo lishmo v'shlo lishmo. Yeah. I know. I'm just obviously other Litvaks use it besides the brisker. The briskers are famous for this one. You know what I heard from my brother? It was totally irrelevant. Once you bring up Blazer Telzer. Blazer Telzer died in London. He's buried in London. He died on a fundraising trip. They say that before he died, I guess as he was dying, he cursed the city of London. That there should be no viable yeshiva there because they didn't help him support Telz, and maybe he died out of Yerush. And because the yeshiva was in dire straits at the time, and closed actually short time after his death, temporarily. So then they say that since then there's never been a successful yeshiva in the city of London. Okay, I find it hard to believe, but that's my brother told me. So, what? I don't know. We don't know. They say that Rabbanan Kotler cursed the Kennedys. How long what was it, the hockey curse or the Muldoon curse? How long did that last? Wasn't there a curse at the Blackhawks? Wasn't it Blackhawks? Which one of the, I thought it was I think it was a curse on the Blackhawks. No. I think there's a curse named the Muldoon curse. Check it out. There's a hockey curse that the Chicago Blackhawks should never win a Stanley Cup again after that. What? They won one. Yeah, but I think it was the Blackhawks who were cursed. Yeah. But anyway, so I don't know. These curses will work for a long time. So maybe it was the Rangers. Maybe you're right. I don't remember who it was. So my kiss is not as good. Okay, Lishmo v'shlo Lishmo. That's one chil. Lishmo v'shlo Lishmo. Lishmo ain't yochel lover psula. This is a mamish, a beautiful love shechiluk. One of them is going to reject it. Lishmo v'shlo Lishmo ain't yochel lover psula. You can't identify the psul. The psul and the not puzzle are mixed together. They're bonded. They're fused. However, You could say these are the psulim, these are the ksher. Since that's separable, so therefore it's considered to be distinct, and you can isolate kashrus. In the case of lishmo shlishmo, the entire thing is contaminated. That's no good. But by l'ochem shalochem, certainly I can identify what part is contaminated and what is not. That's why there it's kosher. Beautiful chiluk. Yeah, but he's not doing the tangibility though. He's dealing with the emphasis is on the love or psulo mitoch yesher. You can choose the pasla out of the kosher. You can identify and isolate it. Okay? Lishmo v'shlo lishmo, another chiluk. Lishmo v'shlo lishmo is noi b'chol kodshim. It's true by all kodshim. All kodshim, lishmo and shlo lishmo, have this this problem that they have to be lishmo and not shlo lishmo. As opposed to ochla v'shel, now it's not exactly true. Chatos has to be lishmo v'lishmo, but the thing is that it means in the general sense. Because the only other korban which must be lishmo is chatos. It means to already be the korban to be a valid korban, though you have to shecht it for the right reasons. If you shecht ol shlo lishmo, it's a valid korban, but lo l'baylim shem chova and so on and so forth, right? So the question of lishmo applies to all the kochim. Loch l'shlo shlochav eno basically niksul by Pesach, and therefore it cannot be inherently pass the korban. I'm Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi said, Minadad Rabbi Lezer, from Rabbi Lezer's statement, Ad Shomat Tartei. Leaving as Girsha Ad Shomat Tartei. Which is nice, it means the same thing regardless. What it means is two of those nice lumdish answers don't hold water. The Rabbi Lezer, again, Rabbi Lezer we had just a few lines ago. Matnis our mission b'shachtel l'ochlav, is karpel l'ochlav shlochav. Our mission we shechted for the yochlim, in order that, and then the people who both ochlin and enam ochlin consumed it later on. Al Yerushalmi Pesachim is karpel l'ochlav shlochav. The shechted from the get-go with the intent of l'ochlav shlochav, possible. Then it's no good. Hare now, in this case, Rabbi Lezer said about a case of Hare Psula Machmas Acherim. The Psula is in the Gavlis. But you'll level Psula Mitol Shero, and he can sort out the Psula from the Ksherim. So how can you possibly say that it's completely and irrevocably possible, like the Rambam Paskins Elokini? So if you all your lum the shetera, only one of your answers works. The most batish answer, which is kini lishmo very b'chol kodshim, that the psul of lishmo can apply to all karbanas. Lochlav sholochlav ein anoy Pesach only applies to Pesach. Rabbi Yavin. Rabbi Yavin says, I got another chiluk. Isla chayli. There's another one. Lishmo v'shlo lishmo noy b'chol avodas. It applies to all the avodas of the korban. Only applies to shechita, and therefore it could be that's why it is unique in that it has specific kulos, because it doesn't pertain throughout the korban. Okay, lochlav kizaysim, another lom the shesugya. Lochlav kizaysim. You had in mind for the echlim kizaysim, shlo lochlav kizaysim. The shlo lochlav again is not like Rabbi Elazar. It's like Rabbi Elazar. Maybe they have in mind shlo lochlav. It passes the whole thing, right? Says you can't have it in mind. It can only be that they come to eat later on. But before I believe if you have in mind for the eaters that they should eat a kazayis, and non-eaters should say kazayim, it's kosher. If you have in mind that the eaters should get kazayim, the people could only get chatzi zaysim, kosher get kosher. It's certainly kosher because they don't have a chilek choshev in the korban to render the korban unfit. However, he just denies the whole Gemara because he doesn't paskin like this. If he has in mind, but actually, he should bring it down because of this case. But I don't know why he doesn't. If he has in mind that the ochlim should only get a half his eyes, and the people who don't eat it, they should also get chatzi zaysim. So everybody's getting half zaysim. Why are we passing in this case? Monica, what are you talking about? If it works, we machshir the korban. Tei machshava l'psul should pass the korban as well. But the chatzi zeisim for the oichlim works, the chatzi zeisim for the eight shreinim ochlim should work as well. It should be possible. Imeina machshava l'psul, it's not a machshava to passel. Lo tei machshava l'kosher should be a machshava to be machshir. So Rabbi Yosef is said, Masnisa Amar Shemachshava l'kosher. We have a brisa which tells us elsewhere that this is a vow machshava, Mishnah which tells the vow machshava to make the korban kosher. The niyat tamon half is ice. The niyat what it says over there, if you have my pigul thoughts, locha kechatzi zayis, to eat a kechatzi zayis at the wrong time, ulakti kechatzi zayis, to imak to have a zayis at the wrong time, we each only have kosher, the korban remains kosher. It doesn't become a pigul. Why? Only she'ein achila v'aktor mitztarfin. Only because achila and aktor don't join together. Apples and oranges. Achila is for human beings. Aktor is for shamayim. But only because of that. Were it not because of that, they would be mitzdarif. So here we have in mind for Yankel and for Beryl and Shmerel, each of them a chatzi zayis lecho, and for Reuven and Shimon, each of them a chatzi zayis, and they can't be ochlim. So they're mitzdarif. Each of these are mitzdarif. Because here it's not achila and aktor, it's achila and achira. So the two join together. If the two join together, so it reverts to the halach at the top of the page, lochel k'seisim shlo lochel k'seisim, and therefore it's kosher. Again, the tzirv is only where it's not, where the achila is, where the one is achila, one is aktor. Now the thing is, it's not 100% accurate, because after all, what? No, not because of that. Not because of that. That's okay, because in the Gemara, we're just using the chiluk the Gemara gives over there. But the thing is that we said before that if for the ochlim you have in mind the zeisim, and the shalol ochlim you have in mind chatzi zeisim, it's certainly kosher. Why? Let them be mitzdarif. It shouldn't be any better. And we have ochlim zeisim l'she'enam ochlim k'zeisim. The she'em ochlim chatzi zeisim will just be mitzdarif with each other. So we have this, but we said kav chomer that's kosher. So I guess kav chomer is just this, a superficial one. In other words, if we're all of them get a kazayis, it doesn't passel. Certainly, when each one gets a chatzi zayis, even though they're mitzdaref, it certainly doesn't passel. Again, because we pass the lochlev shlochlev according to this Gemara is a valid korban and it's kosher. Okay, now for some reason which I don't fully understand, except to say like we learned previously, the Yerushalmi sometimes goes back. Shachto, parallel sugyas are spliced together without the seamless nature of the Bavli. Shachto shedis kaper b'chatzi chaburasa. Same case we had in top of Lamed down on base. You shachted it, only chatzi that have the chabura should get a hold of it. So Rabbi Yerushalmi says it's taka possible. Back there we said it's kosher, here it said it's possible. Because you're making the kapara of one contingent on the kapara of the other, right? In other words, the chatzi, since you have them, they're all menuyim. You're making contingent the kapara of certain of them and the kapara of others of them, and that renders it unfit. Is that clear? You have half of your toilet, the chatzi chabura, which you are, the chatzi chabura you are not mechavin on. It's still part of the korban, right? And the korban, because they were menuim, and the korban is contingent upon them, but they you didn't have them in mind, so therefore it's possible. Now I think this is really like Rabbi Eliezer. I'm not sure it makes sense without Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer is the one who said that if you 100 of them, and one is puzzle, and he had it in mind, it's puzzle. So it's the same idea if you think about it in essence. There were 50 and 50, right? And I had in mind 50, not the other 50. But when I had in mind the first 50, yet the other 50 are menuim, that means the first 50 are kosher, but the other 50 are puzzle. But they're part of the chabura. So therefore the whole thing is puzzle. Okay?
They had potential.
Yes.
They just weren't
included in the thoughts. In the Kohen's thoughts. No. So he says it's not kosher. No, but it's similar in this kind. Not Yeah, before we talk about where some of the people can't eat because of a physical disability. Now talking about where some can't eat because they were left out of the thoughts of the Kohen. So saying that that's similar. Still no good?
So you're saying that you're saying that that's not considered shalola ochla.
Right. Again, shalola ochla would have to be lo shatul ochla shalola ochla according to Rabbi Lezer. It cannot be talking about the shashchita. Means shatul ochla, the Torah shchita had in mind ochlim, and later on lo enam ochlim joined, right? But here we're talking about a case where you intentionally precluded, I can make it better. Here we're talking about a case where you intentionally precluded oichlim. You took oichlim and you precluded them. What right did you have to do that? You had no right to do that. They're vowed subscribers, plus they're oichlim. By virtue of the fact you excluded them, you ruined that for everybody else as well. It's like a migo. Migo that you passed some oichlim, people are candidates to eat, you pass on the other ones also. Still don't like it?
It's digestible.
I don't know, maybe you're right. I don't like it that much either. I'm not sure I like it so much either. I don't know. Yeah, but it has to, so it really has to be like Rabbi Lezer. Let's repeat that. Maybe it'll work this time. Like Rabbi Lezer, if you shechted for members of the Chabura, which are Einam Ochlim, and you had them on, even though they're members of the Chabura, apostles, right? So there it's talking about Einam Ochlim because they're sick. Here you create an artificial category of Einam Ochlim. The Einam Ochlim category you create is people who you left out of mind. Now, this is now, again, if the Kohen gets a list, and he only has in mind the list, this would not be so difficult. Because the list could be incomplete. But here, he specifically excluded them. You have to say here, he specifically excluded that group. And since he specifically excluded them, that's what makes them problematic. Okay? Since you specifically excluded part of the people, knowingly, yet they are part of the korban. They're part of the menuyim of the korban. So that means that you made it an internal ochla v'shlo ochla, which is no good. The only ochla v'shlo ochla which is good is like the menuyav v'shlo menuyav when it's either external or you had no thought at all to the low ochla, but later on the low ochla joined. But when at the time of shchita you created a class of einam ochlim, and you added a minus einam ochlim, even though they're part of the subscriber base, he says that renders it possible. Again, like the Rambam. Chiddush. Bavli never learned this way. Bavli learned Eichel straight up. Right? If some of the people can Eichel, some of you can't Eichel, as long as some of them can be Eichel, that's good enough. But the Yerushalmi is learning that that's only true if at the time of Shechita you had in mind completely Eichlim, and you didn't create a new class of Einam Ochlim.
This is a persona non grata list.
Right. Right. The people who are precluded, excluded. Okay, now Rabbi Yosef said it's kosher. He said it's kosher. That's really what Rabbi Yosef said back here. He also said it's kosher. It's Rabbi Chagai who asked Rabbi Yosef. It's Rabbi Chagai instead of Rabbi Yosef who said Tipatim shoyu kulum cholin. That the only time it's possible where nobody can eat, but where some can eat, some can't eat, it's okay. So really that's Rabbi Yosef here as well. It's Rabbi Chagai in front of Rabbi Yosef there. It's Rabbi Yosef here as well. Says more no. But Rabbi Yosef chazer river the sugi a second time. Chazer Rabbi Yosef he changed his mind and he passed. Rabbi Pinchas. Rabbi Pinchas said to Rabbi Yosef, "Lo kein ofen Rabbi Didris Rabbi that it's kosher." Amarles said, it's stuck into you like a nail, huh? Take out the nail. Truth is, it says the Korban was complimenting him. He says, I see you have a good zikaron. Sure, your things stick to you like nail. But this nail, he's saying you got to remove. Sorry. Okay. Now, Shachta Kaidim, getting back to the mission. Shachta Kaidim, it's a big typo. Shachta Kaidim l'tomid. Possible. Share the Korban pays before the Korban Tomid, it's possible. Lachar Chatzos miyad. Kosher. It's still even the afternoon. It's still kosher. Kohen Tomid, even before the Tomid, it's kosher. The Tani came. We learned to the bread brisa. You only cut a Pesach Tomid. If the Pesach came before the Tomid, I might say lo yuchara Tomid. You can't do Tomid afterwards. Right? So that's the question. It says maybe once I do the Pesach, I can't do the Tomid, even if I missed it, or for fouling. Let's do the Pesach, it's right beyond the time of Tomid. Tamulomar Taseh. No, it says it's a kevis hashni taseh ben arbaim. The word that says superfluous riba teaches that even if you have the market the Korban Pesach first, still do the Tomid afterwards. Ravin said Mastisa Amra. Our Mishnah teaches us this. It says our Mishnah, the Pesach is kosher. So what does it tell us? If you shech the Pesach before the Tomid, you can still do the Tomid. So especially you can still do it. You keep mixing the blood of the Pesach until you do the blood of Tomid. Sometimes you can do it, right? Pesach can be shlo kodmo. If you're going to say that the Korban Tomid afterwards cannot be done, so don't say it comes before the Korban Tomid. Say that there's no Korban Tomid on that day, right? Tama now goes on another issue. Excuse me. Elsewhere you said that the Vorei Tomid come before the Pesach, and only afterwards you put the Pesach on the Mizbeach. Pesach goes before the Ktores. Ktores goes before the Tovas Neres. The Kotam Arachin. Here it says, however, that you do the Dama Pesach immediately after the Dama Tomid, before you do the Vorim of the Tomid. It's a contradiction. Before we learn the Vorim of the Tomid, right next to the blood of Tomid. Here we're learning Dam Tomid, Dam Pesach, then the Vorim afterwards. So he said the obvious answer, Rabbi Law, Kam Chai Cham B'Shachut, where the Korban is still alive, so you push off the Shechita Korban and you have to finish the Tomid altogether. But here where you made the mistake of shechting the Korban Tomid before the Korban is before the Tomid, so you can't constantly mix the blood. So right after the time of the Korban Tomid, before you do the Tzimurim, you're makriv the Korban Pesach's done. I show you this at Pesach. So we shech the Korban Pesach halachah. However, says he transgresses a lav. Rabbi Nomer Hafa Tomid, also the Tomid are a Pesach who transgress the same lav. Rabbi Shimon Hafa Pesach bar Bosa Lishmo Chayiv. If you shech Korban Pesach before you did him this on Lishmo, you're Chayiv. Al Lo Tishchat Achom Mitztam Zivchi. Shelo Lishmo, if you shech it Shelo Lishmo, then you are part of your exempt, because Pesach Shelo Lishmo on Erev Pesach of course now Val Korban. And Sharkos Vachim other korbanos, since they're kosher even Shelo Lishmo as a korban, if you don't fulfill your chiyuv. Shelo Sharkos Vachim Ben Lishmo V'Shelo Lishmo Potter. You're exempt. Why? Because now the sacrifice in Erev Pesach, we sacrifice the Korban Pesach. Why is that? Because it's after the Tomid. So they're all apostle not because they're not valid korbanos, but after the Tomid. So therefore, you don't transgress Losishchat Achomid Tam Zivchi. However, over Moed, if you shech on Chol Moed, the Korban Pesach, Lishmo, you shech Lishmo, it's a apostle korban, so it's Potter. Shloishmo, you shech the Shloishmo, so it's a valid korban Chayev. V'Sharkos Vachim Ben Lishmo V'Shloishmo Chayev, because all the korbanos it makes no difference, it's a Chayev regardless. Chutz min achat shloshach shloishma, so achat shech shloishma, that's no good. It's not a good korban altogether. So therefore, it's not a good korban. You don't transgress. When you shech the chomoy, lo zishchat the chometz tam zivchi, even if you do have chometz in your possession. Okay. How do I know that there's a lav involved? Don't check the chametz, the blood of my korbanos. Only no person who shecht. Now we know the person who does rikas adam when he possesses chametz that he's a sinner. Emphasis on blood. Okay. Amar Rabbi Shmuel Yitzchak, I got a problem with this. If you're going to be chayav on the zrika, you obviously shechted on the chametz, right? So you got the zrika on the chametz. So it must be the lo sishcha chametz dam zivchi does not render the carbon puzzle. Because if the carbon was puzzle after shechita, you couldn't be chayav on the zrika. Because by that time already dealing with the carbon puzzle. The carbon puzzle you're not chayav if you do your own chametz at the time that it's sacrificed. We just learned the Mishnah, right? Any carbon sacrifice after tamid, for example, you don't transgress lo tishcha chametz tam zivchi. So it must be that the shechita on the chametz, we flag you for it, but your carbon pay is still kosher, right? Otherwise, again, you can't get the concept of zrika b'psul. So, I'm not sure Yerushalmi Pesachim is chayav al zrika. Adam Rabbi Pesach Chatzol kosher. The teacher pays himself as kosher. Until then, on Rabbi Yossi, not necessarily. Truth is, maybe if we share the Korban Pesach, then Ben Shechita Zrika. Or another possibility, one coin shechta, there's another coin the Zrika, and therefore they're both chayav because each one is independent. Tani Chizkiah, however, Tani Chizkiah said, you know what? Lo tishchat al chametz dam zivchi. I'll tell you, how you know it's kosher. I tell you it's kosher until the zrika, because it says dam zivchi. HaTorah calls it zevach. The Torah calls it a zevach. You're a valid korban, even if you had dam. So sishcha al it's not dam ha-korban, but dam zivchi. Meaning it's still my korban, even though you had dam. So even though we get malchus, it doesn't render the korban unfit. Ramana said, if not for Chizkiah, it said that shtickle Torah. What's so difficult? You think the carbon is not, if the carbon is possible, I can't give you a chatas, I can't flog you! I can do whatever I want to. The raya is shchutei chutz. That's what the Yerushalmi and the Nir bring down. Lieberman brings down. Shchutei chutz. It's possible carbon, but we flog you for it. So too, the same thing. Okay? What happens if you take for along these slides, take a mincha which is already possible, and you make a chametz? And it says that something like lo yachmitz is a mincha. I'm making that pasuk up, but there is a pasuk like that. It's like to that effect. Okay, so I don't remember what the pasuk is, but anyway, I'm chametz is a psul. Each tani chayiv. Some say chayiv. Each tani potter. Some say potter. I'm achisaban chayiv. B'shnifs lamachmas chimutza. It was possible when you started, but you made a chametz, but it was possible because it became chametz. And we passed in like the carbonated brings down yesh mechametz achar mechametz. You make something more fermented after it's fermented already. So that's why you're chayav for making chametz, because even though the psul was possible already, it was a possible of chametz. And the more you make a chametz, the more you're chayav. Okay, so that's why you're chayav. Manamar psul yields, Manamar Poti says you're potter, Bishalon Nipsla Maras because possible because something else like no sor or something like that. So they're not really arguing. They're just giving different scenarios. When you chayav for making chametz, when the psul already had was chametz before. When you potter for making chametz, when the psul had before, and is another one. Okay? Hiktir imurim al chametz. If you were maktir imurim al chametz, not shchita. Put the imurim in the korban pesach or any other korban. When you still possess chametz, istani chayiv, any other korban on pesach itself. Istani tani chayiv, istani potter. Some say chayiv, some say potter. Madamar chayiv, you said chayiv, big typo here, points to the korban. Should be madamar chayiv, shenamar lo sishchat v'lo yalin. do not shecht on the chametz, and it should not rest on the chametz. Right? What does it mean it should not rest? Something which has isser of halona. What has an isser of halona? Leaving something overnight? Imurim. They become nosar in the morning. So lo sishchat chametz tam zivchi is going on below yolina boker zevach chag pesach. It's going on something which, if it stays overnight, becomes puzzle, right? Which is the meat of the Korban Pesach, becomes nosar, and it's saying nevertheless that the morning of the Korban Pesach, which becomes nosar. We leave it over. Of course, the meat of the Korban Pesach, same thing, right? You're not eating on chametz. But even the morning, which are called lo yolin, because this of halon applies to them, you also transgress lo sishchat if you have chametz at the time when you're doing halona. If you have chametz at the time of aktoras imurim, you also transgress because imurim are also in the parsha of halona. I hope I didn't confuse you. I probably did. But let me try again. If you have chametz when you're doing the aktoras imurim, that too is lo tishchal chametz tam zivchi. It's not the time of shchita. It says in the pasuk lo tishchal chametz tam zivchi v'lo yolin laboker zevach chega pesach. So we make a hekesh. We connect the two. He said anything which you transgress halana, it's possible to shech to be over lo sishchat. And halana is relevant to imurim because imurim which became left overnight are possible just like the meat which became left overnight. Okay, Ma'anim Arpati says Potter holds is because of zivchi has to be a kosher korban, and this is obviously no longer the it says here this has to be a korban which is which it has to be the zevach. Just like the shchita is essential, that it's essential for kapara. You can't get a kapara without shchita. You have to act the imurim. So therefore, the only translation of sishon chametz tam zivchi is how to do the shchita, as opposed to act the imurim. Supposed to imurim she'ena makrin is a kapara because they're not essential to the kapara process. So therefore, if you own chametz at time to act towards the imurim, you don't transgress. Molek ofel chametz. What do you do malika of a bird on a chametz? He's tiny chayev. He's tiny potter. Shocking, right? Some say chayev, some say potter. Ma'anim chayev dam mikomakom. It's dam. It's blood. Spurts out, right? Ma'anim potter says exam zevach. It says zevach. Zevach means shchita. You have to sheino zevach. That's not shech. He holds not that way. So zevach dafka shchita. The Zimi is not enough. But the more does more has guilt pangs on this. Rabbi Yaakov is having boy kum Rabbi Yesa. Ma'anim chayev nicha. He says chayev. I understand. Stop. Ma'anim potter. My timer. He says potter. Well, what's the pshat? Now it's a very difficult concept. He already said pshat. He said it's not a zevach, right? But I think that the pshat is that the Ma'anim says chayev. This is the way I understand the question. Ma'anim is chayev. I understand why he needs a pasuk, because it's not comparable. It's really not a zevach, so it needs a pasuk of dam. But the Ma'anim why it says you potter, why does it need the pasuk of zevach? It's pasuk, not the same thing. There's no comparison between the two, right? My timer, the way the Gemara is asking my timer, it's why I need a pasuk, right? Time on the Yerushalmi sometimes means pasuk. So why I need a pasuk? That's I think the Yerushalmi is learning. So Amalei said a very interesting answer. L'meidim should be onesh mashbiach, and a couple of other Mepharshim say mechamayim. L'meidim onesh leonesh. I'll tell you why. Because he holds I can learn a punishment from a punishment. That I can do. But me'ein l'meidim mi onesh l'ptur. But I can't learn the potter from an onesh. In other words, maybe just like you get the onesh on the korban itself, you get an onesh on malika. I can learn from an onesh to an onesh. Can expand the gedorim of onesh, give more malchus and more punishments, givaldik. But I can't learn that if I give an onesh in one place, I'm potter in another place. That doesn't make any sense. Maybe I get an onesh over there for some other reason. That needs a pasuk of zevach to preclude that even by malika, it's not considered to be warranted to get malchus or whatever penalty or chatas because we see that it's not considered to be a zevach. Okay, We'll stop here for today. This is where I got up to. We did 2 blocks, so.
The records are accurate.